What's up, anime lovers? Welcome back to Otaku Flashback TV, your ultimate destination for epic anime recaps and breakdowns. I'm your host, and today we're soaring into the breathtaking world of Granblue Fantasy. Get ready for an incredible tale of a young man who gains the power to control legendary dragons, epic sky battles, and a journey that will take you to the edge of your seat. We've got imperial conspiracies, mysterious powers, and friendships that literally transcend life and death. So grab your favorite snacks, buckle up, and let's dive into this amazing adventure together. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment of this epic recap. The story starts with Lieutenant Catalina rushing to escape from an airship with a girl named Lyria. Imperial soldiers try to stop them, but Catalina easily defeats them with her sword. Lyria is scared, but Catalina tells her everything will be okay, and they keep running. When they reach the end of the ship, a man named Vyrn stops them. He pulls out a purple crystal, and when Lyria sees it, the crystal in her chest begins to glow and react. Catalina tells him to stop, but suddenly Vyrn's crystal explodes and Lyria falls out of the ship. We meet our main character, Gran, who's chopping wood while talking to his friend Aaron, who sits under a tree. A small dragon named Vyrn brings Gran an apple from Aaron's father and thanks him for his help. They notice a huge battleship in the sky that suddenly explodes. They see a bright light falling from the ship and landing in the nearby forest. Seeing this, Gran quickly grabs his sword and rushes to the forest with Vyrn. While searching the woods for the light, they find Lyria lying on the ground. When she wakes up, she's frightened, so Gran tries to comfort her and introduces himself and Vyrn. Lyria comes down and explains what happened on the ship with Catalina. Then some soldiers spot them and try to capture Lyria, so Gran draws his sword and protects her by fighting off the two soldiers. One soldier shoots a flare into the sky to call for backup. Catalina sees the flare and hurries toward the signal to help them. More soldiers arrive and start chasing them through the woods. Gran asks why they're being chased, and Lyria tells him they're imperial soldiers from the Empire. The soldiers surround them from all sides, but Catalina arrives just in time and attacks them with her magic powers. Later, Catalina introduces herself to Gran and tells him she used to be part of the Empire, but not anymore because of what she did today. She explains that Lyria is wanted by the Empire and was being used for experiments while locked up alone. Catalina thought this was wrong, so she helped her escape. Gran tells Catalina that he will help them fight the Empire and joins their mission. But as they're leaving, Vyrn arrives and blocks their path. Vyrn then summons his four-headed dragon called Hydra. Catalina tells Gran to run, but the dragon targets Gran and immediately attacks him. The dragon charges at Gran and knocks him to the ground. He manages to dodge the fireballs, but gets surrounded by flames, and then the dragon steps on him, leaving him with a very deep wound in his chest. When the others see what happened to Gran, they're shocked. Vyrn starts crying and tells him to wake up, but Gran doesn't respond. Seeing this, Lyria becomes sad and angry. The only way to heal Gran is for Lyria to give him half of her power, so she performs a spell that takes her to the afterlife to heal Gran and share her power with him. While she's doing this, Vyrn uses a gem to interfere with Lyria's power, but Gran still manages to wake up. When Vyrn sees this happen, he can't believe it and asks how she brought him back. He gets scared and commands Hydra to attack Lyria. But at this moment, Gran and Lyria combine their powers and summon a legendary dragon called Bahamut. When Bahamut appears, Hydra attacks it with fireballs, but the attack doesn't seem to hurt Bahamut at all. When Hydra stops attacking, Bahamut creates a giant energy ball and uses it against Hydra. With a single move, Bahamut destroys nearly half the forest and wipes out the soldiers below. When Vyrn sees Bahamut's power, he becomes terrified and orders his forces to retreat. Bahamut wins the fight, and the dragon's soul enters Lyria's crystal. But Gran doesn't feel well and falls to the ground unconscious. He starts having flashbacks of when he was a boy, where we see Gran reading letters from his father. His father told him about other islands like the Island of Wind and Fire, and also the Island of Astrals, which is the home of all the primal beasts. His friend Aaron interrupts him and says that these other islands don't exist and that it's just a fairy tale. However, Gran disagrees and tells him that one day he will become a skyfarer just like his father and will visit these islands and meet all the astrals. When Gran wakes up, he finds Lyria sitting in his room and hugs him, relieved that he's alive. She's shocked that he's alive and well with no injuries or marks on his body. When Catalina and Vyrn come to his room, Gran asks about the village and if anyone else was hurt. Catalina tells him that no one in the village was hurt except him, and that it's a miracle he's alive. She says that no amount of magic could ever bring a human back to life, but the only person who has this kind of power is Lyria. Catalina tells Gran that the Empire has been studying primal crystals to expand their territory, and Lyria is the main key to all their research. Even with all the Empire's resources, they still couldn't unlock Lyria's full power, so they kept her locked away until they could finish their research. But Catalina saved her because she wanted to show her a new life beyond being a prisoner. She tells Gran that Lyria's power comes from a primal crystal, and she can control primal beasts, which are relics of the Astrals, like the black dragon she summoned earlier known as Bahamut. These beasts can normally only be controlled by Astrals, but Lyria can also summon dragons. Vyrn is surprised and suggests she might be one of the long-lost legendary Astrals, but Catalina says all the legendary Astrals are gone. Vyrn asks if she's not an Astral, then what is she? Lyria tells them she doesn't know what she is and has no memory from before being captured by the Empire. All she knows is that when Gran was hurt, she wanted nothing more than to save him and bring him back to life. However, since Lyria and Gran combined their life forces, Gran can't be too far away from Lyria because they are now connected as one life. So Catalina tells Gran he needs to come with them to escape the Imperial soldiers. She tells them their plan is to go to the Island of Astrals. Catalina explains that the Island of Astrals is the only place to find a cure for Lyria's power. When she mentions the Island of Astrals, Gran gets very excited because his father told him about the Island of Astrals when he was younger, and everyone used to tell him it was just make-believe. Later that night, he tells everyone in his village about leaving, and the people tell him that the Island of Astrals is a dangerous place, but he tells them he's already made up his mind and that his destiny is to be with Lyria. The next morning, he meets with the others to start their journey in Catalina's old aircraft. During the flight, Catalina's aircraft suddenly becomes unstable and they crash on an island called Angona. Soon, a man named Rackam spots them crashing and checks out Catalina's ship. He tells them their ship has been completely destroyed and won't be able to fly again. After looking at it, he tells them they need proper flight training, then puts his bag on and leaves. Later, Catalina takes everyone to the town where Gran buys a new sword, and Lyria gets a diary to write about her adventures. The next day, Catalina is arguing with the receptionist at the airship station who told her all the ships are sold out and the next one won't be available for a few days. Then Gran notices a giant airship landing outside the station and says he's always wanted to fly a ship like that. Then Rackam shows up again and introduces himself. He takes them to his workshop and shows them their destroyed airship, which he's currently fixing. Suddenly, two spies from the Empire, Drang and Sturm, appear. Drang tries to capture them by tricking them. He tells them he has a spare airship they can use and lots of fresh apples, but he accidentally mentions Lieutenant Catalina's name during his speech. Hearing this, everyone becomes suspicious and tries to escape with Rackam's help. Drang and Sturm start chasing them and almost catch them in an alley, but Gran tells them not to worry and draws his sword. Seeing this, Drang and Sturm get ready to fight back using their magic powers against Gran. Gran gets ready to attack with his new sword, but while approaching them, Gran gets help from a mysterious lady from above. Rackam finds them and shows them secret tunnels leading them back to Catalina. While Gran is sitting with Catalina and the others, he tells Catalina about the 2 Empire spies who tried to capture them. Catalina says they must be secret agents working for the Empire and tells them it's not safe here. Gran suggests they should leave the island right away, but Catalina says all the flights are already booked and they don't have enough money to buy a new airship. While talking, a girl named Sirocart appears and tells them she's the bar owner and says she can help them with whatever problems they're having. Lyria is surprised that someone so small is running a business, but she explains that she is a grown-up person from a different race called the Harvan, which is why she's small. Catalina asks Sirocart if she can help them find an airship, but she replies that all the Skyfarers are unavailable for hire. She does have an old airship for sale, but she says it's too expensive for them to buy, and they also have no one to fly the ship. The people sitting next to them hear what they said and mention a guy named Rackam, a retired helmsman who might help them fly the ship. So Gran and the others go off to find Rackam to ask him to be their helmsman. But when they arrive near his ship, they notice a Harvan man named General Furious who is leading some Empire soldiers nearby. Catalina says they should hide in the building until he leaves, but Furious detects their movement and destroys the building they're hiding in. Seeing this, Rackam uses his sniper rifle and fires at the soldiers. He also shoots near Gran as a signal to show him the secret underground path. They then meet Rackam as they go into the underground tunnel, and he leads them back to his house. At Rackam's house, he asks them what they were doing near his ship. Gran tells them they were looking for him to be their helmsman, but Rackam says he can't go anywhere without his beloved ship named Grandcypher. Rackam explains that Grandcypher is a ship he's been building his whole life, and once it broke down he stopped flying entirely and won't fly another ship because he's loyal to Grandcypher. Gran smiles and says he understands his feelings. Catalina spots Furious leaving the area and says it's safe to leave, but Gran mentions to Catalina something he heard General Furious say, which is his plan to destroy the whole island. So Catalina says they need to warn everyone in the city and evacuate the island. When they're about to leave, Rackam stops them and says he will also go with them. While returning to the city, they meet the 2 Empire spies again. Drang tries to offer them an airship and tells Vyrn he has a bag of apples, saying all they need to do is follow them. But Catalina says she knows their true intentions, which is to imprison Lyria again. When Catalina refuses their offer, Drang says they have to force them to get on their ship and starts fighting with his magic powers. So Rackam fires back at them, and Gran uses his sword against Drang. However, their powers are no match for Drang's abilities. Suddenly, the weather becomes terrible and a tornado storm begins to form, so Drang and Sturm quickly retreat. After that, they go into the city hall where many people are taking shelter because of the storm that's destroying their homes. Rackam says they need to get everyone off the island immediately and asks if anybody has a ship available. A man replies that he has a big enough ship, but his helmsman is severely injured and no one can fly the ship. So Rackam says he will be the helmsman and take control of the ship. He tells everyone not to worry and explains that he's used to flying in these types of weather conditions. They take a small group over to the airship to get it started, but suddenly General Furious destroys their last airship and says that Tiamat, the goddess of wind, will destroy the entire island and unleash her primal beast upon them. Lyria communicates with Tiamat using the primal crystal and asks her not to destroy the island, but Tiamat doesn't listen to her commands and still attacks. Lyria tries once again to interact with Tiamat, but she can't get through to her because the Empire has put a corrupted crystal in her chest to corrupt her mind and make her go against her own beliefs. Lyria asks Gran to destroy the corrupt crystal using the power of Bahamut. After gaining Bahamut's power, Gran jumps straight off the side of the ship and activates his sword ability. He gets directly above Tiamat, and once he gets close enough, he finally destroys the crystal, making her normal again and saving the island. Tiamat brings Gran back to the ship and gives Lyria a gift, then fades away. Later, they all go to eat, and Lyria pulls out the gift that Tiamat gave her. When they both touch it, they can see visions of a volcano and a giant broken-down factory. Sierra Carte is shocked after seeing the gift and tells her it's a piece of a sky map. Catalina says she's heard of sky map fragments before, and there are other pieces that all fit together and are needed to get through the place they need to go. Later that night, Gran visits Rackam and asks him if he wants to be their helmsman. He asks Gran for the destination of where he wants to go, and Gran tells him he wants to visit the Island of Astrals. Rackam is surprised to hear this and wants to know why. So Gran tells him his father is waiting for him on the Island of Astrals. He shows Rackam the letter his dad sent him when he was younger, and Rackam tells him he didn't know this place actually exists. After talking, Rackam tells Gran he wouldn't want to miss out on seeing the Island of Astrals and agrees to be their helmsman. The next day, they leave and fly to their destination, and they end up at the first location called Vaults, where they need to gather supplies, as it's known to have plenty of steel, armor, and food. However, they notice that the town is pretty much empty with no one around, but the shops are still stocked with items. After they enter a restaurant, they meet a man who says he's a secret agent and works for the government of Vaults. He was impressed when he heard about Gran and his group saving the city of Port Breeze from Tiamat storms and wanted to ask for a favor that requires their unique skills and talents. He asks them to find a very important person who went missing, the Archduke of Vaults. He explains that if word got out that the Archduke was missing, the whole city would be in despair. So he needs a third party to act on his behalf and find him without the city knowing about his disappearance. Gran accepts the request, and they all head out to find the Archduke. The next day, they go around asking the people of Vaults for information about the Archduke. While asking, they see someone spying on them and listening to their conversations. After talking with many citizens, they realize that the Archduke is loved by everyone in the city, and soon riots will begin if he isn't found. Later, they begin investigating an abandoned factory. When Catalina realizes they're being followed, she tells them this must be the same person she noticed following them from yesterday, because she's sensing magic from the footsteps. Suddenly, they hear a girl screaming and see her getting attacked by goblins. They quickly help them fight off the goblins, and Gran asks who she is. She tells them her name is Io, a mage of Vaults, and she's been following them because she knows they are also trying to find the Archduke, who is her master. She tells the group that the Duke is her mentor in magic, and that he's a brilliant magician who can also build amazing structures and machines. But one day, people from the Empire showed up, and he disappeared. Gran shows Io the locations they've written down as places where the Archduke might be, and she tells them one of the places sounds familiar. So they leave to investigate the location. They arrive outside a giant cave, and Io notices a secret entrance hidden by magic. They enter the secret passage and end up inside a hidden laboratory. While inside, they begin searching for the Archduke, and Lyria tells the others she senses something inside the lab. Suddenly, the two Empire spies come out and tell them that this place was first discovered by the Astrals, and what Lyria is sensing are primal beasts. We then see a girl walking next to the Supreme Advisor of the Empire, known as the Black Knight, which is the strongest Imperial Knight in the kingdom. After seeing this, Catalina is shocked and asks them what the Black Knight is doing here. They tell the group that they're also trying to find the Archduke because he agreed to do a joint project with the Empire involving primal crystals. But the Duke took all the research and used it for himself, putting the crystal inside one of his giant machines. After they leave, a mechanical monster appears behind them. Io tells them this machine must be one of the machines built by the Archduke, and his magic powers are controlling the monster. Io runs up to the machine and begs her master to stop, but the machine doesn't listen to her and starts attacking her. Luckily, Gran saves her just in time. After Rackam shoots the monster, they all head toward an escape route. After escaping, Lyria warns them about a voice she keeps hearing, and tells them that ever since the mechanical monster appeared, she keeps hearing the same voice. They continue to investigate and search other parts of the laboratory until they come across a mysterious room with another giant machine. There they meet the Archduke. Io tells them he's acting strange, and we see that his eyes flash red. Vyrn tells them it's a bad sign. The Archduke seems to have forgotten who his student Io is, and doesn't remember anything. They try talking with the Duke, but he tells them his work still isn't complete, and he needs to awaken the true power of the Iron Giant. To do this, he will need the power of Lyria's primal crystal. The Empire spies and the girl who controls the Black Knight are watching this happen from afar. They use the girl's power to awaken the Archduke's creation to attack Gran and the group. After the mech awakens, the Duke commands it to attack them, so they begin to fight the Iron Giant using all their skills. They start using basic attacks against the mech, but it doesn't do enough damage. Then Lyria gives Gran the power of Bahamut, and he approaches the beast with his elemental sword and tries defeating it with all his strength. However, the mech is much stronger than they expected, and they find it difficult to defeat. Io gets angry at her master for turning against her, so she uses the magic that the Archduke taught her, and she manages to knock down the mech. But Colossus gets back up, so they all work together as a team and use their abilities at the same time to defeat the giant mech. After defeating Colossus, Io goes up to the Archduke and uses her magic to snap him back to reality and remove the evil curse the Empire put on him. She starts to cry when he remembers her. We then see a flashback of Io when she was younger. She explains how an epidemic spread throughout the city and caused the death of her mother and father, so for a long time she lived alone until the Archduke found her and took her in, treating her like his own daughter. He was kind and even taught her how to do magic and made her feel happy even after what happened. After Io asks everyone what their next plans are now that they've found the Archduke, Gran tells her they will be continuing their journey toward the Island of Astrals. The next day, they all get ready to leave for the next trip and say their goodbyes to the people of Vaults. But that's when Io tells the group she will be traveling with them, as she's always wanted to see the other islands and meet the Astrals. While traveling, they come across some ruins and decide to go inside to check them out. But while investigating, the ground suddenly breaks and they all fall down into the depths of the ruins. The team gets split up into two groups and they end up in a secret underground area. A bat tries attacking Catalina, so she easily eliminates it with her sword. On the other side of the tunnel, Gran spots water rushing toward them. Io uses her mage powers and creates a tornado for protection. Catalina also uses her magic to protect them from the traps hidden all around the ruins. Lyria almost gets trapped, but Catalina and Vyrn help her just at the last second. Lyria tells them she knows Gran's location and can feel his presence through the crystal. However, Gran might not be able to feel the same thing as Lyria because her power is still much stronger than his. Then Gran and his group hear an explosion, and here we meet two new characters named Marion and Carva, who are two girls also exploring the ruins. They're searching for buried treasure, but the treasure is being guarded by a creature made of sand, who attacks them, and Gran and his group help them just at the last second. When they arrive, they notice that the sand creature is quite strong, so they need to come up with a plan to defeat it. Then Gran uses a fireball and puts it inside the creature's mouth to eliminate the monster. After defeating the creature, a secret door opens, and inside is all the treasure of the ruins. Inside the room, Gran finds a special sword, and while holding it, the sword creates a bright light. Then they all get teleported outside. After being teleported, the ruins disappear and Carva and Mary get upset because they didn't get any of the treasure. Lyria is seen having a vision where all her friends are dead and there was another version of Lyria, but she wakes up and it was only a nightmare. The next morning, they head off to their destination and arrive on an island that appears to be uninhabited. But Lyria tells them she senses something on the island, so they begin to investigate and explore deeper. They find some people on the island, and a man named Eugene recognizes Rackam from Port Breeze. He introduces himself to the rest of the group and explains that their island is currently at war with the Empire. He takes them over to the city, and when they arrive, the group is amazed by how beautiful the city is and are surprised that a city like this is at war with the Empire. A man then tells the people of the city that he was just attacked by a monster. He was badly injured, so Lyria heals him with her magic powers. Then they head over to the town stores and buy some supplies. While buying supplies, Gran spots a blue necklace and gives it to Lyria as a gift. While this happens, we see a hooded figure watching them. Then Gran tells Lyria he forgot something important back at the store and quickly runs back. But when he returned, Lyria was gone. She was captured by the hooded person who was following them. Lyria was unable to do anything because the hooded individual was holding the purple gem that blocks Lyria's power, so she can't escape. Gran tries chasing them down, but he's not fast enough, and the hooded man escapes on a boat with Lyria. At the same time, the city is also being invaded by the Empire ships. The man who took Lyria was Pomeran, and he starts threatening all the citizens. So Lyria begs him to stop, but he tells her to be quiet and then breaks the necklace that Gran had given her. He tells Lyria that she's nothing more than an experiment made by the Empire and says she shouldn't be making friends. Gran finds Lyria and tries fighting the Imperial guards. He struggles, and then he summons a giant water dragon that starts attacking all the Empire ships. Right before he eliminates Lyria, Gran knocks him down, but then they notice that the sea dragon caused a tsunami and is about to wipe out the whole city. But then a girl named Rosetta appears and rescues them all using her magic powers. After the waves hit, Lyria becomes unconscious and doesn't wake up. Gran and Catalina stay by her side and take care of her. While sitting by her side, Catalina confesses to Gran about Lyria's true powers and tells her that she was used by the Empire as a weapon experiment. They accidentally summoned an unknown creature from inside Lyria, and the creature could defeat the Empire and bring destruction to their entire kingdom. So the Empire decided to imprison her to make sure she wouldn't lose control and summon the demon inside her. They then head over to the Island of Astrals to bring her back to life and wake her up. They come across a giant tree, and Rosetta explains that they can use the magic of the tree to bring her back. Once she wakes up, Lyria explains that she was in a dark sleep and was worried about the power of the creature being awakened. She was worried no one would be able to stop her. After she awakens, this also awakens the giant dragon of the seas, so Gran instantly uses all his power to attack the dragon and takes it out with his sword. This brings the anime to an end.
And that's a wrap on our Granblue Fantasy recap. What an incredible journey we've been on with Gran and his crew, from gaining the power of Bahamut to sailing through the skies in search of the Island of Astrals. This anime truly delivered on epic adventure and heart. What did you think of Gran's transformation from ordinary island boy to legendary dragon summoner? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this recap, smash that like button and subscribe to Otaku Flashback TV for more amazing anime content. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. We've got so many more incredible anime recaps coming your way. Until next time, keep that otaku spirit burning bright, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, anime family!